costs for American families who want to build or renovate homes. For example, the U.S. National Association of Home Builders has calculated that a $1,000 increase in the cost of a new house in the U.S. would put home ownership beyond the reach of more than 150,000 American families and jeopardize thousands of jobs in the American home construction industry. The same organization estimates that the lumber price increase in the first quarter of this year has added almost many regions depend on its continued success. Our government is taking immediate action to help affected companies, workers, and local communities. Now that the U.S. decision to impose preliminary countervailing duties has been confirmed, I am reconvening the Federal Provincial Task Force on Softwood Lumber this week to examine together next steps. That task force was formed to address the needs of forest workers and communities. The upcoming meeting will build on the progress we have made through this federal-provincial collaboration. Immediate action includes ensuring companies are aware of and have access to existing financing initiatives under the Business Development Bank of Canada and Export Development Canada, which offer a range of financial services to Canadian businesses on commercial terms, including loan guarantees. These initiatives are available to businesses of all sizes and can assist companies looking to make capital investments, expand market opportunities, and diversify with confidence into new markets. Promoting the use of Canadian wood right here at home. Budget 2017 provided $40 million for increasing wood use in Canada, allowing Canada to continue its world leadership in tall wood building development, partnering with industry and the provinces to build on successes, such as the 18-story University of British Columbia's Brock Commons residence building, the tallest wood building in the world. Actively working to help the forestry industry to access new markets. International Trade Minister François-Philippe Champagne is currently with a delegation of Canadian lumber representatives in China, promoting Canadian products. Minister Jean-Yves Duclos is currently in the United Kingdom and Europe, promoting Canadian wood, and I will travel to China in June with forestry leaders to build on this momentum. Employment and Social Development Canada stands ready to provide essential services to support any workers who may be negatively affected. This supports include employment insurance and career counseling, as well as retraining and skills development programs that are delivered at the provincial level. Currently, ESDC transfers nearly $3 billion annually to the provinces through labor market transfer agreements. An additional $2.7 billion over 6 years was announced in Budget 2017. Indigenous workers still have access to services through the Aboriginal Skills Employment and Training Strategy. At the same time, we will continue to press our American counterparts to rescind this unfair and unwarranted trade action. We are committed to working with the U.S. administration to achieve a durable solution. Canada has put forward a number of reasonable proposals to the U.S. administration that are responsive to views expressed by U.S. industry. These proposals ensure security of supply at fair prices to U.S. consumers and U.S. companies that rely on Canadian imports. We remain confident that a negotiated settlement is not only possible, but in the best interests of both countries. I would now like to invite Minister Leboutillier to speak.
Merci, Monsieur le Ministre. Bonjour tout le monde.
Thank you, Minister.
Comme le ministre Carr vient tout juste de nous le dire, notre gouvernement est en profond désaccord avec la décision préliminaire prise par le département du commerce des États-Unis d'imposer des droits compensateurs sur les produits du bois d'œuvre résineux 0.88% on softwood lumber products from a number of Canadian provinces, including Quebec, Ontario, New Brunswick, and British Columbia. This action is baseless and unfounded, and we will vigorously fight it throughout litigation. Previous U.S. claims for duties have always been found to be without basis, and we expect that to be the case again this time. Over the past months, a number of my ministerial colleagues have been communicating with their provincial counterparts. Minister Carr has created a federal-provincial task force, and a telephone conference will occur on Thursday to update on the matter. Our government will continue to work relentlessly with our provincial partners in order to defend and support the workers of the forestry industry and the industry as a whole. We will continue to work on all fronts. For example, finding an agreement with the Americans through litigation before pertinent authorities, supporting workers, the industry, and market diversification. I myself come from a region where forestry touches many families and allows them to feed themselves. I lived through the 4 last forestry crises. I recognized how significant this sector is for small communities throughout our country. Canadians can count on our government to defend them tooth and nail. The Canadian forestry industry supports hundreds of thousands of good-paying jobs for the middle class in all of Canada's communities. For many regions in Canada, we depend on the continued success of the forestry industry. These tariffs are unjust and punitive and will have a negative impact on jobs on each side of the border. Our government will continue to defend the Canada softwood lumber industry, its workers and their communities. Thank you very much.
Okay, colleagues, I have 7 of you on my list at this point. If we're going to get through all of you, please ask brief questions, and if the ministers would be succinct in their answers, we'll begin with Mia Rabson of the Winnipeg Free Press, please.
Oh, I only wish.
It's the Canadian Press as of a couple weeks ago.
Congratulations.
Minister Carr, you talked a little bit about the loan guarantees and other money that you're providing that has already been on the table. Are you putting anything new on the table to help the lumber industry deal with this?
We're working with the provinces and we're working with industry to come up with a degree and a measurement of help to the industry that we think is what's required to get through this period. There are existing programs that will be very useful, particularly to small and medium-sized operators in Quebec, Ontario, New Brunswick, to a lesser extent across the prairie, and then in British Columbia. And we will make sure that we do an exhaustive search of the programs that will be of benefit to these small and medium-sized and large industries, and we are prepared to look at all reasonable possibilities.
Are you concerned at all that adding new programs or putting new money on the table will just exacerbate the situation with the U.S.?
Well, there's always a balance between what is countervailable and what isn't, and we think that we will find that balance, and we believe that the primary responsibility of the Government of Canada at this moment is to ensure that the workers and the producers who are affected by this trade action have the full support of governments, both at the federal and the provincial level, working cooperatively together as we are.
David Younger, Reuters.
Mr. 2 months ago when the PM was in Washington, Mr. Trump talked about tweaking the bilateral relationship, and suddenly things are not where they were. How surprised are you by how harsh the tone is and how quickly that harshness has set in?
I would not use the word surprise to characterize reactions to politics in the United States right now. I think that we have, from the moment that this administration won its term in office, reached out to them to make the arguments that the bilateral relationship between Canada and the United States is in the interests of both countries, not only at a level where we talk about policy, but also on the ground when we talk about job creation in my own portfolio in the energy sector, where when we look at various policy options that will benefit benefit in ways that are tangible and measurable both sides of the border. So surprise, no. As I indicated a few minutes ago, this is not the first time. This is lumber 5. It began a couple of centuries ago, but we believe that the relationship is so important and so consequential for both Canada and the United States that we will work through this as well.
And what do you believe is behind these comments on dairy and lumber?
I have no idea.
Prochaine question, c'est Louis Boin de Radio-Canada.
Louis Boin, Radio-Canada.
Combien êtes-vous prêt à avancer en garantie?
How far are you willing to go with regards to loan guarantees?
Écoutez, comme le ministre Carr l'a mentionné un petit peu plus tôt, on a EDC qui a des outils à s'apporter, dont des garanties de prêt qui peuvent être apportées à l'entreprise. Fait que nous, c'est sûr qu'on va fonctionner avec les programmes actuels. Et le ministre aura une rencontre cette semaine, prévue, une rencontre téléphonique avec ses homologues des provinces. Puis les gens du ministère sont en train aussi de regarder puis de faire l'analyse de la décision qui a été donnée par les États-Unis. Puis avec les homologues des provinces, il y a d'autres décisions qui vont se prendre ultérieurement. Mais je peux vous dire que l'objectif du ministre Carr, l'objectif de
Minister Freeland's
de tous les ministres qui sont concernés, parce que depuis 18 mois, je vous dirais qu'il y a plus de la moitié du cabinet qui est interpellé dans le dossier du bois d'œuvre. Même le premier ministre aujourd'hui va parler à ses homologues des provinces, va parler avec le premier ministre. Puis notre objectif, répondre d'une façon coordonnée et adéquate.
Meet this in a pertinent and cooperative way. Do you think that anything else will be announced on Friday?
Moi, je peux pas m'avancer. Ça va faire partie des discussions que le ministre va avoir
it will be part
avec
of the minister's discussions with his provincial counterparts.
Follow up on my colleague from Reuters' question. Mr. Trump has linked dairy and softwood lumber together. Do you see the ongoing anger about dairy making it more difficult to come to a solution on the softwood lumber file?
There are irritants in the trading relationship. They're not new. The Prime Minister has said all along that he would welcome sitting down with the President or to have ministers and cabinet secretaries sitting down to renegotiate trade agreements to make them better. And that is our objective. And when we make the arguments, we don't always make the arguments from a Canadian perspective because we truly believe that there are many, many jobs and opportunities in the United States that are dependent on the free flow of goods and services between these two countries. So while there will be irritants in sectors, we believe that overall the trading relationship is in the interests of both countries.
But can dairy be used as a leverage point to get a better deal on softwood lumber?
Well, we have expressed our support for the dairy industry. We are today expressing our support for the forestry sector because it's our job as the Government of Canada to defend the interests of our companies and our workers. And that's what we intend to do. And we will use what is available to us in order to make sure that we take full advantage of these measures and other tools that we have used before in the history of these disputes to promote Canadian interests. And we will continue to do that. And we will argue at the same time that it's also in the interest of the United States.
Raymond Fillion, TVA.
Le gouvernement du Québec disait hier
Yesterday, the government of Quebec said that the federal government must offer immediate help. So why not announce new
Il y a déjà de
measures?
l'aide qui s'offre au niveau, là, on parlait de la BDC, on parle de EDC, on a annoncé dans le dernier budget aussi des argents en innovation, on a annoncé des argents au niveau de la formation. Mais le dossier, je vous dirais que le dossier du bois d'œuvre, on l'a mentionné, moi, là, c'est mon 5e conflit là, actuellement dans le bois d'œuvre. Et ma préoccupation, puis je vous dirais qu'à chaque fois où on a parlé du dossier du bois d'œuvre, on a toujours amené la problématique du fait qu'on n'avait pas travaillé à diversifier nos marchés. Ça va être la seule façon de s'en sortir. Il faut travailler à ouvrir sur d'autres marchés parce qu'actuellement, notre marché majeur est vers les États-Unis. Et c'est pour ça qu'on a des ministres actuellement qui sont à travers le monde pour justement travailler à ouvrir d'autres marchés puis faire en sorte que lorsque un marché où ça devient plus difficile à un endroit, ben, au moins on a des ouvertures ailleurs, ce qu'on n'a pas actuellement. Ce qui fait là, que quand on regarde au cours des 30 dernières années, on a pas mal tous mis nos œufs dans le même panier, puis on se retrouve toujours à la même situation, parce qu'un coup que l'accord est terminé, il faut recommencer le processus de négociation, puis on est toujours en train de faire exactement les mêmes demandes, mais aussi les mêmes erreurs. Moi, je considère que d'ouvrir les marchés viendrait aider aux accords futurs.
In future agreements.
Les États-Unis sont encore le marché le plus lucratif et de loin pour le Canada. Est-ce que votre stratégie fonctionne? Vous les mêmes arguments, vous le dites, là, que vous présentez.
You've put forward a situation where all of our eggs are in the same basket, so that we cannot simply be in a situation like Groundhog Day.
Minister Carr, just to double check and just to confirm, so in the immediate term, there are no new immediate measures going to be brought in to assist any of these companies that are going to be hurt by these new tariffs?
No, I wouldn't rule anything out. We are now in the process of reviewing the impact of these measures now that we have numbers to put to them. And I will be discussing with my colleagues, both across the Government of Canada and across the provinces, to determine what we believe would be the most effective set of measures. So we are going to be canvassing a great number of them.
What do you expect to actually these tariffs, the impact to look like on the Canadian economy?
Well, if we look at the history of these trade actions, there inevitably will be job losses. And we will focus our efforts on doing whatever we can to ease the impact of those job losses. That is the
file the WTO or NAFTA challenge, or are you just thinking about whether you're going to file it?
those.
Vous avez une question, n'hésitez pas à appuyer sur les touches étoile 1. If anytime you wish to cancel your question, please press the pound sign. Vous pouvez tout moment annuler votre question en appuyant sur le dièse. Please press star 1 at this time if you have a question. S'il vous plaît, appuyer sur les touches étoile 1 maintenant pour poser une question.